everybody, my name is Nick. Welcome to Nick video tutorials. Let's talk a little bit today about Azure Cloud and debug everything in a local emulator, We will discuss today actually about Azure Functions. How to do an Azure function and how to test, how to debug actually, because it's a difference between debug and test. We will debug first, and after that also we will test if it's working or not. It's very easy to see all this part. We need that Azure Functions cloud tools, core tools, in your Visual Studio. Of course you need Visual Studio, as an IDE, Azure Core tools there, and also we will use C# as a programming language. Azure Functions are the smallest and easiest part of cloud programming. I mean, to develop something for cloud directly, dedicated for Azure. If in the past, we discussed a lot about Kubernetes, about Docker and how is the image and containerized everything there and so on and so on. Today we will discuss a little bit about Azure Functions, because if you will work in cloud using Azure Cloud, in that moment you will know how to create an Azure function. You will see Azure function is, like said, the title. It's a function, and also is this function is going in cloud. The cloud will take everything because it's serverless. You don't need to do server side. You do your side. It's backend. It's not front end. It's backend. And you will create an Azure function, basically having a trigger. Multiple triggers exist, HTTP and so on. Trigger, it's that thing who make to start to run your Azure function. That's a trigger. Okay, exists multiple types, so you will see. And I will stay on just one trigger today. I will not make examples for all, because it's a lot of them, around 12 or 14. So in this case, we will create an Azure function. We will test it. By the way, in case of you don't have connection to real Azure Cloud, you can test everything into a storage emulator. Storage emulator is placed also when you install everything for cloud. It's actually in the Visual Studio 2019 or more, or higher. It's installed, or you can install it when you go to manage what you had that installed already by default and what you want to add, modify, and all stuff. So there you have also that emulator. Basically, emulate what is cloud, Azure Cloud, on your local part, on your local host, meaning on your local machine. So let's switch a little bit to see everything here. I want to switch here a little bit, and now we will see something very, very important. What? This is Visual Studio, and what we will have to do first, Azure Functions next, and create Azure Function. You will find, so it's very easy, Azure Functions. You have an Azure Function, let's say Azure Function test for you, I don't know, and here Azure Function test for you solution, because we will create a new solution and project directly in solution. We will not add a new project into an existing solution. Okay, so where I put all this, let's put in the project as usual. In my video tutorials I will put on other hard drive to have it there, to keep it nice and safe. Okay, so let's create this part, and in this moment you will see, look, another box appeared, another interface appeared, and basically Visual Studio asks you now, what do you want? What trigger do you want? So on what trigger do you want to run your function? I mean, when you say something, this was the trigger for me to be angry on you. Something, that piece of thing or idea or something like that. Exactly, this is with Azure Functions. need to have a trigger to start, need to have a trigger to run. In this case, in our case, we can put trigger HTTP or service bus directly, or timer trigger. Look, a lot of triggers here. Can be signal R. Has exists now signal R for cloud. In the past when signal R appeared was client server. You have signal R as a server to develop. Wow, was, believe me, to put all that, and also signal R to use signal R to have multiple users to in real time with tunneling types of connections and so on. RabbitMQ, Kafka, and so on. A lot of triggers here. I will take something very simple. HTTP trigger. HTTP trigger. I will use what? I can use nothing. I mean, just be very sure it's working, and after that to make a deploy directly on cloud. Or I can do storage emulator. Sorry. Or I can browse an emulator or something and use something external. What I need to authorize as a function or anonymous. Okay, so anonymous is very easy to put. We don't know no authentication and stuff like that. So let's do a create, and now the function will be created for you. Will be easy to see everything here. Ooh, we have already a function done. What we have? We have here something like a tree. You can see in tree style here everything. What is? We have solution, we have the project, Azure Function, test for you. We have here dependencies because it's core, it's done in core, it's with dependencies. Okay, so we have dependencies here, analyzers, frameworks, .NET Core. Can you see? And here, if you don't believe me, you will have a lot of DLLs, okay, of libraries. And okay, so package, what would be .NET SDK functions is dedicated for cloud to know what's going on and to have it directly. Look here, basically you have everything placed, created by scaffold, automatic by Visual Studio. It's not necessary to start something from zero, from scratch, and you need to add manually all that. Takes a lot of time, only to do that. We have some properties and also we have here also our function. Basically this is the function, this is what we need. It's a function, a class, function CS. In my case, CS means C#, because it's a class but can be VB here, so in this case is in VB.NET. Okay, so in my case it's a C# Azure Cloud Azure Function. It's created already by scaffold, by Visual Studio. What we need here to do, we need, for example, to change a little bit something. I want to put everything in one line for you to see what's going on. What I have here, basically I have a function name. It's like an MVC. If you know a little bit of MVC, you have some attributes. One of them is function name because it's a function. What do a name, so I can have function 1, or I can have a function test for you. Okay, in this case I have basically a task, because in cloud you need to have a task. Give a task to cloud to do. This is what is. It's a task with an action result, and what type of action is, what type of task is to run. To run this can be other kind of tasks, but in this case it's to run that Azure function. Okay, so what we have here another attribute inside, like it's an HTTP trigger with an authorization level anonymous, because I said I want anonymous. If I check this and I cut it, I will put something else. Can be anonymous function, system user, and so on. I want anonymous, it's quite nice. Get post, in my case I want for the moment only get, because I don't want to post nothing. Okay, so I have a root. A root is null because I don't have a root, but I want to have a root. So in this case, let's say test something. Let's say a number, and here we will put a number. Okay, in that case we'll take a number. We have a HTTP request, it's a request, and also here we have let's put a number, double. In this case we can put a number. It's quite nice. Ooh, I forgot to put a comma. Okay, we have a number. And what we have here, we have log. We can let the log, so automatically will save all the time when it's something in log, because you have logs, you know. Log is that storage part, file, or directly server, depends, you know. When put line by line what activity is done or has been done, or what's going on, to know in case of something. You take the log, open the log, and see, ooh, I had that. Here it's an error. You know, you can detect very basic, to say like that. Okay, what I have here is something dedicated already by Visual Studio. I want to change a little bit. I don't want to let something default because I don't like it. Don't worry, it's not an error here. It's not an error. I will fix everything. Okay, so what I have here, so I have a number. I want to have also a variable, let's say result of number of, not number, sorry, result of calculation, probably is good, equal number plus number plus number, okay, plus number. Whoa, I put a lot of numbers here. Okay, so what I need to put here, I need to put result of calculation, because I need to put back to you return. I mean, go, what return? We have like every function. I have a function, have an input data for the function is number, who's double, so goes inside of the function. Here is the processing of the function. It's something very easy. Okay, some simple calculation, just make number plus number plus number plus number, something. Okay, and this is the result of calculation, and of course this result of calculation we will put it here, result of calculation. Or to be better, to be nice, let's concatenate and say this is the result of your calculation. Okay, bam bam bang, a little bit of space not to be directly in there. It's concatenated plus, you know, put it together in a string. It's data who have also characters, also numbers, you know, so in this case we can have everything there. So that's why we concatenate, because it's not to add something mathematical. Okay, and in this case we have result of calculation. Everything is quite nice. Let's debug a little bit all this part to be sure it's quite nice. Build, succeed, and now we have something. We have this kind of Azure function. For the moment it's quite okay. Okay, what we need to do, we need to run. Look, we have here, we need to run. And automatically a CLI, a console will be open for us, and basically you will see there what is in emulator. Look, let's start this. Console appeared already because I have two screens, and another screen is default and appear. Basically found something, it's a function, start to do, and we need to test after that. So basically we have Azure Functions called core tools, you know, it's triggered to HTTP this kind of function. So if we take this, you know, and put it into in this here into a browser and change the number, because we need to have an input data, okay, and put 11, I don't care, and let's see, it's working. Eureka, is working. This is the result of your calculation, 44, because I had something like, woo, here, number plus number plus number plus number, 11 plus 11, 22 plus 11, 33 plus 11, 44. So in my case, I have console who says, woo, look, Nick, request trigger done, HTTP. So we had an HTTP on some port, default port. You can change the port, you can do a lot of other things, you know. So we have everything here. Executed, has been executed. By the way, this is put it also in a log, okay. So all this is written also in log, and we checked everything, it's okay, and we have here 44. If you don't believe me, let's put 22 and see 88. It's working, it's here, can you see? And also we have that string. This is the result of your calculation, to be nice, to see not just a number. That's why. So basically this is what I want to present to you about Azure Functions. This is an Azure function. It's easy to create using scaffold, using Visual Studio. Directly take an Azure function. After that, choose the trigger. I choose HTTP because it's very easy. When I have an HTTP a request, done, request already, cloud know to start to run that function. In the moment when it has been accessed, has an HTTP request, something like I send from my browser as a client to the cloud, not to the server, to the cloud, okay. Okay, in my case is localhost emulated, but can be Azure directly on the Azure, okay. In that moment, the cloud saw the trigger, and the trigger was HTTP. Wow, so we have an HTTP request, yes, start function number 1, number 2, or what is function test for you. And that moment that what was inside of the function has been processed and have a return, okay. Return is as a result to something, can be result going in something else to be processed in something else, or can be directly result to you. In my case was directly result as a result to me on my browser. Can be a result and take it that result in other function who do something like that. In case of that result, the trigger, and so on and so on. You can increase your complexity of processing, or increase the complexity of programming. Okay, so in this case we have that part. We have a return, and on return we have that string with a number processed, you know, was a simple calculation, number plus number plus number plus number. So in this case we had the number, and that's it. That's an Azure function. It's not a big deal to release. It's very easy. Just go on Azure, you know, do directly with Azure, not with an emulator released on an Azure cloud, and that's it. You have it also, if you checking views, you have also that part for a view for cloud, you know, in general, like you have for properties and tree view and so on and so on. Like you have SQL tree view and everything, you know, you have also for Azure dedicated. Or you can do a release on Azure DevOps, for example, if you work in team, and there must be tested in pipelines directly, must be placed by a CI/CD, I mean by a DevOps, in whatever going on, or tested by a tester directly there, you know. So that's why testers, normal testers like manual testers, need to be a little bit changed now. They need to change their view with pipelines and everything what is, because it's not just a simple click action step. We have an action test case, and that's it. Now you have multiple parts, and it's a little bit more complex than this. So this is what I want to present to you today. I hope everything was okay. I hope you like all this presentation. If you have questions, don't forget to put a question or a comment, a decent one, you know, on my comments there. And see you next time. Till then, bye bye.